Emmanuelle, to me, is the story of a woman who feels lonely and doesn't feel pleasure anymore, and it's her quest to get back to herself, to connect with others, and to finally feel that pleasure. But honestly, the project is about making a movie through sensations in order to share with the audience everything that goes through her body. I refer to the book written at the end of the 50s. And I could have made, and probably I thought I would make, a feminist version of it. And then the deeper I was digging, the more I understand that there is another topic beneath that, another layers. And it's very strong now in France when you ask the young crew. They don't want to touch each other. They don't want sexuality anymore. If people don't want to touch each other, this must be the topic, you know. I mean, we like to talk and watch each other, but within the distance, keeping that distance. And that means that people are scared of each other. They're scared to be judged. They're scared to show who they really are. They're scared of their own vulnerability. I think vulnerability is beautiful. So I wanted people, so Emmanuelle, this K, who is experiencing her own vulnerability, opening up, taking risks, accepting the idea of fear in order to go to something unknown and to meet the other. It was very important to me because I wanted myself to take risks. I mean, you know, the Golden Lion was a beautiful but very strange experience because when you're put on the top of the mountain, then you can experience the fear of falling. And I can only create if I don't fear the fall. So during the whole shooting of Emmanuelle, I felt in the same mindset as my character, like I'm scared of the unknown, and I keep telling myself, let it go. And I think the key sentence of the movie is when Jamie Campbell Bower says, fear, what a delicious feeling. I think I watch too many Hong Kongese films. And so to me, working on Emmanuelle was actually playing with the idea of a fantasy. And this fantasy place worked in my mind through all the movies, through, I say Ennui, Love in a Fallen City, because it's a movie who takes place mainly in a hotel. Of course, in the mood of love, because I can remember people, the couple brushing against each other in the corridor, and me feeling something watching them brushing in corridors. And I had so many experiences, cinematographic experiences, even very different, like Nomad from Patrick Dam. So I had the desire to come to the unknown because I've never been there before. So this was my chance to come, I guess. But also, I wanted a city where lots of strangers, you know, where people goes and back and forth and some stranger meets. And the hotel is to me a small world, you know, within itself, with people coming from different countries. I wanted some place with modernity and tradition. So for many reasons, to me, this was the place. I forgot to mention Chungking Express, which is, but you know, I think Chungking Express is interesting because it also tells me something about the geography and how it impacts filmmaking. Because what is it to shoot in narrow places, and how you can use a lack of space as a cinematographic language. And that's what, there is an energy and electricity, the chasing in the small places, there are things that are designed and thought because the place is small in a way, because you have a lack of space, because there are many people the density and the energy comes from the location. I spent a lot of time here before filming, and I needed time. I needed to lose myself in the city, to get to know the city a little bit, to create connection, deeper connection. But also, the whole purpose of the movie is to make a movie through sensations. And I really wanted to build this hotel where everything's silent, the temperature is always the same. I mean, the city looks like a painting, and suddenly you open the door when you're very frustrated. You open the door to be inside, you open the door, and by contrast, you feel all the sensations. The loud music of the city, the texture, the humid air, the colors. I mean, I wanted to use everything that the city is whenever you get out of your plane. I wanted to know how much I can still use eroticism as a language, cinematographic language. We used to have erotic, which is definitely not pornographic movies, but erotic, which means that we want to show, but not everything. We want to use beauty as a concept. But erotic movies had a great time, a great eras in the 70s, golden age, I would say. And then pornography has changed everything because the idea of showing everything. And I don't like to be provocative. I'm more about, how a character feels. And I wanted to talk about pleasure, but sexual pleasure, but not only. I really wanted to ask ourselves how we treat pleasure in our society, how much we're self-centered, how much we think consumerism will get us to happiness. So yes, I mean, this journey was about the society we're in and how to, I would say, let it go. For me, eroticism, and I'm pretty inspired by In the Mood for Love as a definition of eroticism, because it's not about sexual sequence, it's about the atmosphere. It's about how you design and depict attraction, and an attraction that goes stronger and stronger. And it can exist through words, it can exist through glances, through the way people look at each other, through the way you narrow the distance, even from a few centimeters between two characters. So I wanted to build and design that attraction. I didn't want sexuality to be choreography. I would lose something that is so important to me. I mean, the logic of the instant, the exploration that the actors can make. But it really helped us because, most of the time people are not willing to talk about it. We have this awkward feeling talking about sexuality for some reason. Here, the intimacy coordinator helped us opening the discussion. So we talked a lot about it before. And I was really able to explain what was the meaning of every sequence as for every other sequence. And suddenly, when all the crew, actors and technicians are really aware of the purpose of the sequence, and we're discussing how to reach the meaning, which kind of frame for which kind of emotions, then it's just work. What I really expect or hope is that we at the end were able to design female orgasm, which is so rarely rightly pictured in movies. I mean, normally female orgasm is designed in order to show men the performance was right, not for themselves but for the other. And here we spent a whole night trying to find how to depict it not being in a caricature, it was very hard because when an actress is playing, she is absolutely simulating. So we want to find something that sounds right by simulating. So we were exhausted at the end of the night, and I couldn't find the last frame of my film. But because we were both exhausted, maybe we were less in control. And at the end, that's a spoiler, you should say it. So this is a spoiler. At the end, orgasm is a sight and a smile. And that was it. And I realized we made the whole movie, we climbed that mountain in order to take that small flower, you know, just a sight and a smile.